you feel bad for the Patriots because it wasn't their best showing, but we got to be proud of our season, right? I think that's going to be the main message from Mike Vrabel to these guys is like, you played so well. That being said, the Bills are going after them next year. The Bills are going to retake the division, Whit. Welcome to Fitz and Whit. I'm Fitz, that's Whit, and this is a Wave original. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, Whit, just like you were doing with Uber drivers all weekend.
Yeah, baby.
Follow the show on social media at Fitz and Whit. That's Fitz, A-N-D, Whit. New episodes every week. This episode is presented by Robinhood Prediction Markets. Whit, hurry up and tease the episode because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, Fitz, coming up, we're going to talk about it's the end of the road, baby, and the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champions. We're going to get into that. Plus, you know what? We'll talk a little bit of Will Campbell and Drake Maye. Wasn't their finest hour, but let's calm down just a hair, just a little bit. And, of course, there's always lots of shenanigans to recap from Super Bowl week, Fitz, including Bill O'Reilly loving on you. I want to hear about this.
Hey, he said I had the it factor, Whit. It's got a sad ending, though. So,
all right. Well, ton to talk about. Let's get into it, baby. Come on. Talk to me about the week.
All right. Well, Seattle, 29-13. What a clinic they put on defense, man. And you, I mean, going into this game, you know, I was trying to speak the Patriots win into existence.
You tried.
We knew it was going to be a tall task. But what jumped out to you is, first of all, where'd you watch the game from?
Well, mostly I watched the game the first quarter. I was in the Amazon suite for a little while, and then I went and had a suite visit I had to do with Marriott. And then I watched the rest of it on my phone. The lovely world of YouTube TV, baby. Headphones on my phone, travel to the airport. Then lucky for Delta, we got a little live TV, baby. I watched it on my way home to LA. Then I had the brief little where you freak out and you're missing something when you land, no Wi-Fi, the TV wasn't working. And then I got back on and watched the rest.
Well, if the Patriots were on offense, you didn't really miss a lot. I was calling the game for Sky Sports, so the way they do it over there in the UK, they air the American broadcast. They don't have commercials, and we just give analysis during the commercials. It's actually really fun. Did it with my buddy Neil Reynolds and Dominican Sue and Jason Bell. And
so you're not talking during the game.
No,
you're just
it's
talking
like just during the commercial. So it's actually it's fun because you know how we like doing like when we get to analyze at halftime, when we get to analyze post game. It's almost like immediate reactions right after a drive will happen, a punt, and they flip it to commercials. So the problem was I just became a broken record because Neil kept asking me, Fitz, what do the Patriots have to do here to get going? But their drive chart, and this is, yes, this is the Patriots didn't play well on offense, but let's give some credit to the Seattle defense too. Their drive chart, the first 3 quarters, 8 plays, punt, 4 plays, punt, 3 plays, punt, 3 and out again. 6 plays, punt. Then they got the ball for 1 play. They need it to take it to half. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And then 5 plays and a fumble by Drake Maye. At the end of the third quarter, Seattle held New England on 39 plays to 78 yards. Andrew, how did they do it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I thought one of the ways they did it really is just by being who they've been all season. We talked about how elite this defense was. You know, what I really liked is you didn't see them come in there and try and say, hey, we got to do a lot of different things, do something New England's never seen before. We're just going to play our base system, do what we do, and do it better than anybody in the world. And I think, you know, the biggest challenge coming to this game, you knew, was I really thought, you know, this matchup of New England, they've played well, but I don't know if they've played a defense probably like top to bottom, every position. Maybe Houston was as good, and they struggled in that game. But, you know, the Texans struggled on offense. The only thing gave them a chance. But the Seattle, how good they were on offense, plus the defense, I knew this was going to be a tall task, and it was going to be a really tough one for them to win. So I think really playing with 2 rookie O-linemen, first time it's ever been done in history. Clearly it was an issue, but, you know, it's one of those things where, listen, New England had an insane season, but this team, Seattle, was overmatched. We said it 2 weeks ago, or I said it at least. I don't know if you did. But I thought Rams Seahawks were the 2 best teams in the NFL all season long. I said it at week 4 of our season. And I still felt that way coming into this game. I thought the Super Bowl was played 2 weeks ago, and Seattle won that game, and they were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the defense, it was interesting. New England started out how I thought they would start out, with direct runs, try to calm people down, but they just got into some of those 3rd and longs early, and McDonald dialed it up a little bit early too, put the pressure on. Now, let's just get into lots being made of Will Campbell, lots being made of all the sacks in the game and the pressures. What I would like to speak on before you get into it is it's frustrating for me for people to blame it on one guy. There's a lot of things that can happen in a football game. You have players that can miss blocks or get beat. Yep, they get paid on the other side of the ball too. You also have blitzes that offensive linemen can't protect because there's more guys blitzing than you have blocking. And that was the case at times. You saw it. That was a game plan early on in those 3rd and longs. Edge pressers with multiple defensive backs.
Yep.
Unless you're schemed up perfectly, or unless the quarterback changes the mic point or the center changes the mic point, you're not going to be able to pick a lot of those blitzes up. And then some of them fall on the quarterback too. Good protection, nobody open, eyes dropping, which I felt like in playoffs in general. I mean, Drake Maye had an unbelievable regular season. He struggled in the playoffs, and one of the reasons why some of those fumbles early and sitting in the pocket, I just felt like as the playoffs went on, his eyes continued to drop very quickly in his drops. But every sack has its own unique story. But I would love to get your take on Will Campbell and what you think about his performance and just him going forward.
Yeah, I think it's one of those fits. What you're touching on with Drake is that, the regular season is his own monster. And I know people hear this talk, like, I even heard Kyle Brandt kind of give a take on this. Like, I don't buy that the playoffs is faster or that it's like different football. But it's not that it's different to me. I think what it really gets into is when you look at a regular season schedule, coaches, they game plan within the last few weeks and they game plan things week to week as they're going, but they've somewhat known their schedule and they've somewhat had a plan for every game, kind of, hey, this system, this is what they do. They're working on a really fast clock and they're saying, hey, week to week, like we're just going to kind of Rolodex our plan kind of based off who we're playing, and we'll add some little one-offs here and there throughout the game plan each week. But they've never really dove in the way they dive in for the playoffs because it's win or go home. There is an extra bit of urgency to every little coaching tidbit, to every little strategic thing, technique-wise, everything else. And what are they going to go do? They're not just looking at the last 3. They're going to go find every way you've struggled throughout the year, anything that's given you issues. If they think it's communication at the quarterback position, if they think, hey, let's make Drake Maye think a little bit on his feet and have to really dissect where things are coming from, give him a lot of unclear pictures. It's no different than an offensive line. I always say this, like offensive line play, especially early in your career, it's about exposure. And so that's why I've always been somebody, when you're talking to me about great players in the offensive line position, it matters how much they're on the football field, not just from the consistency they play with, but from the exposure they put themselves under. So when they're always on the field week to week, every single week, they're going to get exposed at times. And you know what? That's going to happen, and they're going to reassess. They're going to evaluate. They're going to get better from it. And I think when I look at Will Campbell, you remember our game, I made some points of some things that I was worried about that he loved to do. He loved to lean with his left hand a lot of the times. He didn't show at times that his anchor all the time was as strong as you wanted it to be if you were going to play with your hands the way he would. He'd get out over his toes some and not have a real good feel for space a little bit. Those are all things that as a young tackle, you got to figure out in time. Right. All right. And that is, you just don't do it in one rep. Right. And the picture always changes because you're always playing a different player. That's what's so different from college and NFL is that every player is so unique and elite. You're not playing the one-off teams in college where you just dominate a guy. Every one of these guys is good, and every one of them's got a different plan and something they're really good at. And when you get to playoffs, they're coming after your weaknesses. They're coming after your flaws. They're going to know exactly the things that you struggle with, and that's what happened in this game. But let's remember, Fitz, how rare this is to be a second-year quarterback like Drake Maye or even be a rookie left tackle who started day one and played in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, to do that is extremely rare. It's a really short list. And for a lot of tackles, this happens in year 2 or year 3 when they get exposed. This guy's been on tape a ton. A lot of these guys are putting in a plan. They had 2 weeks. They're going to go, hey, man, this rookie, every flaw he's got, we're going to go after.
Yeah. And I think there's some criticism, too, of Josh McDaniels of like, okay, they're going to try to expose the left side of the line. How do you not help more or do more? But it's – at some point, Josh McDaniels' hands were tied too because it was 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, and it just you can't get into a rhythm as a quarterback. You can't get into a rhythm as a play caller. And I think Drake Maye will continue to learn and get better. But early on, we knew what kind of game that was going to be.
Yeah.
So it's not a game where you're going from your first read to your second read to your fourth to your fifth. You're taking 3 hitches. It's a game where you're making quick decisions and getting that ball out. And you're building confidence in the guys up front. And he'll learn as he continues to go, though, because he's a special player. He put together a special season. But I'm curious on the Will Campbell stuff. Like for you, when was it? Like, what year did you finally feel comfortable? Like, all right, I can do this. I'm a bad MF, I can block all these dudes.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, my rookie year when I played really elite guys, you always felt like you're holding on for dear life. I mean, that's just the reality. But as a second and third year player, I got to actually move to left guard because Levi Jones came back. And that's somewhere where as a big dude like I was, I mean, eating that space up, I felt like football was easy when I played inside. It's a drastic difference when you're playing in between guys. And then my fourth year, I became really in the second and third year, I played some left tackle with Levi injured. But in my fourth year, I fully became the left tackle for the future.
Right.
And that year, it was drastically different to move out there and be out there all the time because I kind of knew my flaws. I knew what people are going to attack. And that's my point with Will. And what's wild about this is people, you listen, I know that X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is come down to now it's a lot of people talking about things they have nothing they have no idea about. They just say statements, right? But it's like listening to all these players who never played offensive line or maybe played it briefly, like completely destroy him because of his arm length or say whatever. Like, hey, Alaric Jackson, they have basically the same arm length. I actually think Will's might be longer. Alaric Jackson's a baller and absolutely shut out the Seattle Seahawks every time he played them. So this doesn't have anything to do with arm length, all right? So it's just crazy when you hear that kind of stuff.
Thank you for putting that out there, Whit. Yeah.
It's just stupid. But when you talk about these things, it's arm length, it's body strength, it's anchor ability, it's all the footwork, your ability to anchor on guys, your ability to have upper body violence, like how you put your hands. And as I said when we talked about Will, he loved to stick his left hand down the middle. And when you're like that, and people talk about arm length, it's about chest width. You've been around me, Fitz. My shoulders, how wide? You forget my arm length. My actual upper body span is 7'2". So when you take in arm lengths plus my shoulder width, it's 7'2". So that's the reality of how wide it is when a guy tries to get around me. Will Campbell has really narrow shoulders. Then you put in his arm length. So there's just different things. When I look at him, though, I would tell you this. I'm not saying, I'm not comparing the athlete they are. But I would say that Will Campbell, and I always say this, you got to know who you are and you got to know a little bit of who you need to go watch. I think Will Campbell needs to go watch Teron Armstead play football. And the reason is Teron Armstead was a guy who loved to use his left hand. He loved to get it in there, but he had great feet. He was a crazy athlete, and he would get aggressive and jump guys. Because if you're jumping, you can do that a lot more, not when you're backing up. Will plays a little bit like me and a little bit like Lane Johnson, but he doesn't have that frame at all and how he tries to set. And so my point is I'd love to see him go get aggressive, learn how to jump guys, learn how to make this kind of a fight and go play an aggressive style at tackle. That'd be something a little better for him. But it has nothing to do with his arm length, Fitz. This is a combination of knowing who you are and using your skill set to being good at football. That's like saying a wide receiver has to be the fastest guy on the field to be good at wideout. It makes zero sense. Devontae Adams is not the fastest guy on the field, but that dude can separate like nobody else.
I mean, you're fired up today. I like this. I mean, if you like offensive line talk, you're going to love what Whit just said. But for those of you that don't like offensive line talk, let's talk about what you do like. Quarterback, Sam Darnold. Woo! What?
Come on, baby.
I mean, it's just so cool. So cool where he came from, how beaten down he was, the path to now being a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And it just, when you look at the list, getting drafted with Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, for Sam to be the first one of those four to get to the big dance and win it is pretty awesome. But New England played well. Their defense played well at the beginning part of this game. They kept them in it. I mean, to keep them to 4 field goals, for it to be 12-0. And I mean, at some point it was going to break, right? It was just like they're hanging on for dear life. Kenneth Walker had some big runs, but other than that, I thought their defense played really, really well. And then it just, the turnovers started to happen for New England's offense. But Sam Darnold, it seemed like early on, they attempted a post to Rashid Shaheed. He almost had it.
Yep.
I was so excited. I was so
close.
excited. And then at the end of the half, the throw to JSN on the post was close too, but Christian Gonzalez, holy smokes, he made some really athletic plays. But it seemed like after the first quarter and after they really got a feel for the game, Sam, his job was to not turn it over and to try to be efficient and make good decisions. And that's what he did in this ball game.
He did, and I think it's a cool story. Obviously, everybody's going to make a lot of, really how he started. And, I think people need to, here's one of the things, and we're always going to relate, Fitz, they're going to go back to the Jets organization, and I'm not taking up for the Jets organization at all. They've obviously been a disaster. But, let's be real, Sam didn't play well to start his career in general. Whether you want to say anything about the Jets or Adam Gase, doesn't matter who it is.
He'll tell you. He'll tell you he didn't play well. Yeah,
he didn't play well. And the reality is he had enough time to figure it out and get there. And I think that's why, when we talk about even Will Campbell, it's a cool thing. Hey, man, this kid played in the freaking Super Bowl as a rookie. Hey, Sam's a great example, buddy. Listen, you're going to be fine. Just keep playing football. You're going to be all right. There's plenty of time to figure it out. Sam Darnold's an awesome story for everybody. But I think for me, Fitz, I think when I look at this Seattle team and Sam, I think he really, to me, had an even better year than people realize, because to me, I thought that, throughout the year, I wanted so much more from this running game and so much more from their ability with Kenneth Walker and this group to just really dominate games. And I thought at the end of the year, when we saw them playing at the end of the year and they started busting runs and you saw some of the explosives comes the Rams game that we had, and then you saw it in San Fran, it got going against them. That's the moment if I was being honest, I went, oh, shoot. The Seattle Seahawks, they're going to be a real tough team to beat for the Rams, because when that running game came alive, to me, that's what meant, hey, listen, I know what Sam's going to do with the football and really his ability. You look at some of the one-off games he had this year outside of really that Rams game. I thought he did a tremendous job all season. And to me, even in that game, it was, hey, let's just be able to lean on this run game all the time and trust this defense and not make Sam feel like he's got to do extraordinary things. And that's when it's like, oh, this team's dangerous, because as good as they are on defense, if they can run the football well, you and I have been talking about Kenneth Walker for I don't know how many years now. I mean, we've been dying for this guy. We've been dying for him to get going. So, I mean, I think it's so cool to think about. You look at the Grubb system last year and how much we wanted freaking Kenneth Walker to be the bell cow of this whole thing. And then where it's gotten to this year for him to end this season as the MVP. This team's dangerous, man. This defense, and they can run the football, and Sam Darnold at the helm. This is going to be a really good football team.
Yeah, I had an event I did on Saturday night with Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, and Saquon told a little story about Kenneth Walker reaching out to him during the season. I think just having somebody like that to bounce some things off and talk to and vent to. Saquon said it was awesome, but I was surprised. We just don't really know Kenneth Walker's personality, but he is a quiet guy.
Would you see his dad first ever football game?
Really?
His dad came in his first ever football game. Yeah, so his dad doesn't like crowds or people, so he must be like that too. So he never came to games, and they talked him into for this game. You got to do it. It's a Super Bowl. You got to come. And his dad came to the game, and he wins MVP, Super Bowl MVP. How freaking cool is that?
That's pretty sick. The hard part, so we're sitting up there in the booth thinking about last year I got a vote for Super Bowl MVP. This year I did not, so they must have hated my vote, or I don't know. But
listen, don't give this guy a vote.
But you're sitting up there and you're thinking about it, and it's like, well, it can't be Jason Myers, right? And at the point where it was 12-0 in the game, you're thinking, I don't know. I mean, he's the only guy that's scoring points here. But the hardest part about naming a defensive MVP is unless there are a few plays that if it's a superstar like Von Miller and he makes some plays, or if it's an interception return for a touchdown or a fumble return for a touchdown, it becomes very difficult. And even though the story of this game was Seattle's defense, who are you going to give it to, right? I mean, Byron Murphy played great. Witherspoon played great. Nwosu
had a couple sacks.
Hall had a couple sacks and a forced fumble, but it was so spread out. And so you almost feel bad because you can't give it to the Seattle defense. And there was not really one guy where it's like, okay, he did something great that, overshadowed everybody else. So, but Kenneth Walker, what a game he had, and ended up, I don't know, what did he end up with? 100 and I think we have the stat right here. Kenneth Walker ended up with 135 yards rushing, and then he had that screen pass where he went for 26. So he was certainly a difference maker for them on the offensive end. But then your boy Cooper Kupp, too, gets himself another ring, which was great. He had 6 catches for 61, was a big factor in the game. There's just so many guys. I mean, Mac Hollins, a guy I played with that ends up getting those 2 big catches in the fourth quarter and getting the touchdown reception in a Super Bowl. Pretty cool deal for him. So I feel you feel bad for the Patriots because it wasn't their best showing, but I mean, we gotta be proud of our season, right? I think that's gonna be the main message from Mike Vrabel to these guys.
Insane.
Like, you guys, you played so well. That being said, the Bills are going after him next year. The Bills are going to retake the division, Whit. I have a strong feeling about that.
Here they come, baby. Here they come. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of retool again this year. Yeah, I mean, you look at it, the Patriots just did. I mean, really both these teams, you can say, from a GM standpoint of putting these rosters together, what an amazing couple years now, really for Seattle and then for New England in 1 year. I mean, every right move, free agency, you name it, putting this team together. But now it's what is that next move? Because just like I talked about Will Campbell, the league catches up. Drake Maye, same thing. The league catches up. They're going to put you in your hardest position. Now every team has circled these 2 teams, what they did in the offseason. We love to copycat, and I think we'll see that some team's going to try to replicate the same thing. And then also we got to think about, too, Clint Kubiak moving on, right? Kubiak. So for Seattle, that's going to be a big deal, right? How do they handle the offseason? In New England, it'll be interesting, right? Can you put it together again? Because I think they had the perfect mix this year, but I still think they got some things they're going to have to improve because I think the Bills and some of those other teams are coming after them.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets.
It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market.
You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter.
Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it.
I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people.
You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S., download the Robinhood app now to begin.
Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. The copycat thing is interesting because it just makes me think about Houston in the conversation we've already had. So you're Houston, you're sitting at home, you just watched that Super Bowl. Like you have a dominant defense as well. Whether you're equally dominant or more dominant than Seattle's defense, like you guys are in the same category, right? And they have been all season long. And they need some upgrades. They need some upgrades on the offensive line. They've got free agents. Ed Ingram's going to be a free agent. Trent Brown's going to be a free agent. And like if you look at Seattle, they've had a ton of talent on defense, but they haven't been afraid to continue to draft guys and put them in good positions on that defense and sign guys on that defense. And then last offseason, they sign Sam Darnold, and he's making $33 million a year. So right now you're sitting on that CJ Stroud contract going, okay.
Well, they traded away Geno Smith.
Yeah, they traded away Geno Smith. They traded away DK Metcalf, right?
Yep.
I mean, I sit there and watch Houston play this year, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going to be better next year? Or maybe this happens in 2 years. Is it going to be better? Because you can't tell me that there aren't teams that are out there that would trade 2 first-round picks and some more things for CJ Stroud. You're telling me the Arizona Cardinals wouldn't be interested in that, or the Jets, or the Dolphins, or the Steelers, or the Browns, or whoever it is. I just think if you're Nick Caserio right now with Houston, it's like, all right, so I can have Davis Mills at $7 million and a bunch more draft capital, or I could have no additional draft capital and CJ Stroud at $60+ million. I at least think there has to be a conversation about it, and I think he has to be thinking about that watching Seattle do what they did and for their defense to really take them as far as they did and dominate in that Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think you're just trying to get us screamed at right now. But I will say this: we're gonna go from lightning bolts to bull symbols on our Twitter accounts. But here's what I would say to back you up there. I mean, if you look at this and we think we had Texans this year, like to me, to go with this defense, it's the same thing I just said with Seattle. How do we get this run game going to where this is a dominant team on the football field running the football? You look at, we said a little bit of the copycat thing, and I think the copycat thing to me fits in this situation. Kind of what you're saying is Sam Darnold's not a $50-60 million a year quarterback. Let's not forget he played like one. This year he played like a great football player. A lot of people have respect for, but he's not getting paid that. So how do you sit there and go, man, is it like really? Now we've talked about the rookie era. Everybody's kind of lived in that. But how can I live in that quarterback who's maybe like a little bit of a tweener, just fits my system for as many years as I can get out of him before I have to pay him? Like, are we going to live in some world of that now that money's gotten so high? And it's almost like if you're come off of a rookie deal and you're a starter, you deserve $60 million. And that's just the reality. And I'm not dismissing CJ Stroud's rookie year, but I don't think it's been quite that level since then.
But it's also, and it's more, this isn't an indictment on CJ Stroud, right? Because CJ Stroud is rookie year.
It's how you build a team. Like,
it's how you build a team. Like CJ Stroud was the rookie of the year, right? He lit it up his rookie year. He's won at least 9 games all 3 seasons. He's won a playoff game all 3 seasons. So there are plenty of people that would want CJ Stroud at 24 years old to be the face of their franchise. It's more about how you build a team, because then you just start thinking about John Snyder and how he's the only GM in NFL history now that has won 2 Super Bowls with completely different rosters and a different head coach.
Yep.
And so it is a copycat league. How is he doing this? Yep. The thing you have to point to is that Russell Wilson trade, right?
Yeah.
What did they get from that? They end up getting a starting left tackle in Charles Cross. They get Boye Mafe. They get Devin Witherspoon. And they get Derek Hall, who has the big game in the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying, again, not an indictment on CJ Stroud. Like, I like watching CJ Stroud play. I just think there might be a different way that we start thinking about how to build these football teams. And if you're looking for quarterbacks that are in that class, I mean, Daniel Jones was sitting there this last offseason, right? I think Davis Mills is a guy that can fit in that category. That's why I'm saying that.
Well, let me ask you this. How did the Rams now been to a couple Super Bowls and been in a couple NFC championships and won a Super Bowl, right? They traded a guy named Jared Goff who had been to a Pro Bowl. He'd been a great player, and they traded him for Matthew Stafford. I understand that comp, but the reality is that was one of those moves where they're sitting there going, man, we've got a window with Aaron Donald and some of the people we have on this roster, and we feel like the fastest way we can win right now, we're going to play in SoFi Stadium, is to make this trade. And that's a little bit of what you're saying about the CJ Stroud things. It's not an indictment on him. It's how good this defense is. We can't hold it together forever. Like, how do we win right now in this window when we got this many defensive talented players on that side of the football? And if that's your best option to be able to get some more picks, be able to improve this group, because to me, you don't improve this offensive line and this run game doesn't get better, it doesn't matter how good this defense is. You're not going to be able to get over the hump and win some of these games late in the year, in the playoffs, when it matters and everybody's good.
Yeah. Did you, speaking of your guy, Matthew Stafford, MVP winner, I know you were at NFL Honors. Did you get a chance to talk to him after he won?
We did. Melissa and I we actually showed up. Me, Carissa, and Steve and Melissa happened to pull up literally just randomly. Our car's right behind there. So we got to walk in with all the Stafford girls and Kelly and Matthew. It was a blast. They looked beautiful. The girls were maybe the most well-behaved kids I've ever seen in my life. I mean, those girls sat at this table for 2 hours at NFL Honors. Yeah. They didn't throw it. I mean, my boys, we would have, water bottles have been flying. Chairs would have flipped over. I mean, you know how it is. But the girls, you know, were awesome.
Yeah, the girls are different than boys, though. You know that, I know, too.
But they were unbelievable.
That's great. That's great. The videos were cute.
120 degrees inside there. It was the hottest event I've ever been to. I was pouring sweat. But E40 got up there, and I got live a little bit. We had some fun. Puka's mom was she was going ham. She was having a good time. The Puka Nakua family table is always, they're always having a good time.
And you ended up presenting with Jason Kelsey, right? You guys presented the Protector of the Year?
Inaugural, yeah. First ever Protector of the Year. Joe Tooney came up, got the award. But there was a lot of really deserving guys. Some of those finalists from Trent and Panay and, there's a lot of good players.
Yeah, that would be a tough decision,
brutal.
But
it was brutal.
Joe Tooney, very deserving. He's our
guy GB. He was one of the finalists as well, and one of those guys was right up there. It was very close at the end. GB Garrett, he deserved it as well. So it was cool to get to honor one of those guys, though.
I'm going to be surprised. I would assume going forward, this will be a very tackle-heavy award, but Joe Thuney is one of those unicorns with how dominant he is at guard, and also the ability to kind of pop out and play tackle. But
any of those awards surprise you? Any of the awards you liked a lot or no? Braves Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
McCaffrey could have won any. McCaffrey could have won any of the awards. I mean, Christian's year, he could have won anything.
But I mean, JSN was the Offensive Player of the Year, right? They don't give that to a quarterback usually anymore, or at least this year they weren't going to. So I mean, he is so amazing to watch, and he didn't have an enormous impact in the Super Bowl, but all year long. He's so smooth. Like everything he does is so smooth. Pretty cool and great job by him. And that's just a connection that's going to continue to get better and better.
There's no doubt. I thought the coolest moment though was Stafford in his speech with all 4 girls standing beside him. That was so neat, man. What a cool way to honor your career, how good of a player he's been, to get that MVP award, take his girls up there, just like, man, I am a dad of 4 girls, an MVP. You see all the grays. He's letting the grays come in the beard, which I love.
But then he announced, I'm back. I like that. Did you know before he said that he was coming back? Like, did Sean know that? Did the Rams know that?
My guess is going to be that there was a conversation had there, feel like. But, I mean, I don't know. I saw Sean's face on the video at NFL Honors. He looked pretty happy. So, I know Kyron Williams was behind me. I thought he threw something in the air when he announced it. But, I mean, Kyron went crazy. Puka was jumping up and down. Those guys are excited. I mean, that's their guy. Nine's the guy there. And listen, speaking of trying to take advantage of windows, SoFi Stadium's hosting the Super Bowl next year. We know what they did last time. They traded everything. So it'll be interesting to see what Les Snead. He was in Hawaii watching honors. They showed that on Instagram. It said Kara, his wife, filmed him. Watching honors from Hawaii. But I think he was in Hawaii plotting the next move, baby. I think there's something coming real soon in March. I don't know what it is, but. Either in the draft or in free agency, we're going to see the Rams probably go after this next one.
I wonder in the next 2 months, I guess by April, who will have a better tan, you or Les Snead?
There's no question, me.
Yeah, you're going to play a lot of golf, going to spend some time in Mexico. Yeah, you're going to be very, very dark at that point. What about Protector of the Year stuff? Leads us nicely into Big Whit Energy for the Super Bowl.
You know what? Big Whit Energy for the Super Bowl. I mean, we just got to give it to this Seahawks O-line because I feel like we come out of this thing, Fitz, in this game, and everybody's talking about Sam Darnold's redemption story. We're talking about Kenneth Walker. We're talking about JSN. We're talking about the Seattle defense. Cooper Kupp getting Super Bowl number 2. Mike McDonald even said he thinks he's a Hall of Famer, and this makes him one. What an unreal career Coop's had, and hopefully keeps rolling. But the O-line, baby. Nobody's talking about the Seattle Seahawks O-line. You go run the football like they did. You protect the quarterback. Do what they did in this playoff run. I really thought they improved the last part of the year running the football, and that was the key to why this team was so complete. Because when you look at what this team was on special teams, how good their defense was, and then when they got the ability to run the football, I mean, Sam Darnold, I'm not saying he didn't have to do a lot. I'm not saying that they didn't have to lean on Sam. Sam had to play great, but it made it where this team was complete. And beating them was going to be a really big challenge for everybody else.
I mean, our final Big Whit Energy of the year. That's
Seattle
nice.
Seahawks, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. The O-line. Good job, baby. Thanks to Rowe for sponsoring this next segment. All right, Fitz, the Super Bowl was a defensive matchup, and the offenses didn't really get it going until the second half, but we're both going to give our picks for who finally gave their team a little spark.
Yeah, I'm going to throw my boy in there. When I got my face mask grabbed, I completed the pass to Mac Hollins, and New England could not get anything going in this game. And finally, in the fourth quarter, Mac Hollins catches the big end cut, and then he catches the touchdown. He did everything he could to try to get that team going in the fourth quarter. I'm going to give my Rose Spark player of the game to Mac Hollins because he was doing everything that he could in that fourth quarter to get the New England Patriots back on track.
I like that, Fitz. You know what? For Seattle, I feel like the game was more steady than there really was a spark moment in this game. So I'm going to probably say that Kenneth Walker was the spark for the Seattle Seahawks when you really think about this playoff run. And then even in this game, he started the game off with the 10-yard run, kind of set the tone for how this game was going to go. And really, to me, that was what the key to the Seattle Seahawks being really good in the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl is Kenneth Walker providing the spark that they needed in this run game, baby.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker, you think about the big plays that happened in that game, the 29-yard run and the 30-yard run on the same series. And then in the second half, I was waiting all game for somebody to throw a screen pass. It was bizarre. Usually when you're getting, rushed like New England was, they threw one screen at the very end of the game to Travion Henderson. But the screen pass to Kenneth Walker in the second half, that was the big play for Seattle that kind of got them going again. So you're right, Kenneth Walker, man, we talk about the explosiveness, but he was the spark for Seattle in this game.
When the game is on the line in the bedroom, you need something that delivers under pressure. Rose Sparks kicks in fast, so there's less waiting around for kickoff, and it stays in your system for up to 36 hours, so you're always ready for overtime. Hey, Fitz, do you know what great football and great sex have in common?
There's a lot of confetti when it's over, I guess.
Sure. And whatever mindset you're in, Rose Sparks can make any round of sex feel like winning the Super Bowl.
I guess that's something the Patriots can try.
Well, yeah, and we're excited to tell you what Rose Sparks are all about.
Rose Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for guys who want harder and more controlled erections. They hit the bloodstream fast, Whit. You know it, because they dissolve under the tongue. Getting hard fast means there's less waiting to perform.
Plus, its dual-action formula stays active in your system for up to 36 hours, so you can be ready for the second half and even some overtime.
If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan.
Connect with a provider at ro.co/Fitz and Whit to find out if prescription Rose Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/Fitz and Whit for $15 off your first order.
Sparks is a compounded drug product. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety-info. Speaking of, I'll tell you this little tidbit in a minute. I know I sent you a photo, but let's just review the Super Bowl week and kind of how it started for us, what we did. And so I want to talk first about the live show that we did on Wednesday night at Hopa's in San Jose. They made a special Fitz and Whit beer for us, which, by the way, that was tasty.
Very good. Very good. I don't think I messed up. I should have grabbed some of the cans. I completely forgot. But
yeah, well, I'll have Brian send some to you. But it was a sick setup. They closed down the street. There was a great vibe. We ended up going on at 6 p.m. So by that time, it was starting to get a little dark outside. We had a great crowd. I was really excited and impressed about the crowd because who knows, right?
Awesome.
I mean, there was beer, there was food, they had the live music, but we didn't know how many people were going to show up. It was kind of last minute. We made a time change and then all of a sudden, awesome. But that show was so much different than a lot of our other shows because we did a show in Buffalo. We know what to expect there and what they want to hear. Yeah. We did a show in Cincy. We know what to expect and what they want to hear. But we start off the show and it's like, all right, let's figure out first, like, what kind of fans we have in here.
Who are we talking to here?
Some Seattle fans. We had some New England fans. We had a lot of Niners fans, a lot of Raiders fans. And it was funny because with that stuff, you always had to be ready to kind of pivot and play to the crowd. So we did some Super Bowl stuff right away. And it didn't feel like they were really feeling it. That's not what they wanted to hear. It wasn't keeping the vibes high. And so I had this stroke of genius on the way in the car ride, a game I came up with called Fitz or Whit.
So
and dude, it was awesome.
Except for when the 9-year-old was up there.
Not good. Not good. I don't know if you want to tell people what that slide was, but so basically the premise of the game was we just put it, there was a big white, there's a big screen behind us and we're able to put up a phrase or something that had happened. And so, the first one that comes up is, he has been mistaken for Sebastian Janikowski. Is it Fitz or is it Whit? And they sat there and they deliberated and we had one person that got to give the answer. And if they got it right, they got a prize. If they didn't, we kicked their ass out of there. Of course, they went with you, Whit, and that was incorrect. That one would be with me. One of my other favorite ones was, he went on spring break with Britney Spears.
Yeah, baby. Come on, back in the day.
That was not me. No. And then the other one,
Florida.
We had a couple that tricked him up. He has a son that's 6'6". They immediately went to you. Got him.
Junior tennis champion.
Junior tennis champion. But anyway, it was a fun game. It was interactive, got the crowd going. We gave a bunch of raffle prizes away. That part was awesome. The signed footballs and the jerseys, and then we handed out the biggest prize. Well, I don't know if it was the second biggest prize, but the most coveted prize, I think, was the Super Bowl tickets at the end, which was awesome. But the real grand prize, they had that 8-foot tall cardboard cutout of you.
Yeah, hold on one second. Here's the thing that really is going on right now. Here's the real controversy we want to know about right now. Okay, the fans at this want to know how in the world, in two random draws, do the two people you know in the crowd are the two people that win, Fitz. I'm just saying, when I was doing the scrolling, somehow it didn't happen.
So how we did all the prizes, we had how many names? You think there were 1,000 names in there?
Easy. So we just let it roll, and then just let it roll,
and you put your finger on one. And that's how we picked all the prizes. And my brother, of course, of all people, ended up winning the 8-foot tall cardboard cutout of Whit.
So good.
We are still trying to figure out how to get that from San Jose back to Phoenix.
I thought it was going on. He didn't put it on the plane? No?
He did not.
Delta wouldn't let him bring it on? Southwest?
No. So we might just rent a U-Haul and drive out there so we can throw a cardboard cutout of you in the U-Haul and come back down. But shout out to Brian and shout out to Hoppas for that night.
That was awesome.
The Fitz and Whit beer was awesome. Thursday was a fun hang. I was doing a few things. I ran into you and Sean McVay having lunch. Always good to see him. I mean, just the energy of that dude.
Oh, my God. Does he ever slow down? Ever?
Oh, it's ridiculous. I had the brilliant idea, though, of Thursday night flying back to Phoenix because I wanted to go to the WM, the Waste Management Open.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you've been before. Have you only been for the practice rounds, or have you been for?
No, only the practice round. Hadn't been the actual tournament.
Yeah. So what a time. I went with Liza and Sean and his wife Mary and a buddy from Buffalo. And I've only been to the Masters and to the WM. I guess I went to the Ryder Cup this last year, but they're on different sides of the spectrum, right? In terms of craziness and raucousness and then respect for the game. But I ran into your boy, Cromer. I ran into Spencer Brown. Yeah, Spencer Brown is very easy to, just like you, very easy to spot at a sporting event.
Was Spencer Kincaid trying to talk him into coming back? Were there.
He should be. Chrome looked happy in retirement. Yeah, he looked very happy.
He's going to that beach house, baby.
I ran into Riley Moss in Charlie Kolar, and I yelled "dirtbag," and he turned his head. So I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely Riley there." But why the WM is so great? It's a perfect time to be in Arizona, first of all. And if you actually want to watch golf, if you just go anywhere from the first hole to the 15th hole, there's nobody there. It's wide open. You can follow your group. You can, if you want to socialize and have a good time, 16, 17, and 18, they're incredible. The people watching is unmatched, especially as you get later in the day. And then the other thing that just pisses me off about this tournament, there's a lot of people that turn their noses up and, there's too much drinking. And so the Thunderbirds are the ones that put this tournament on. It's this great group of dudes. And this year they're going to raise, just from this tournament alone, like $20 to $25 million for local Arizona families and children and charities. And it gets overshadowed every year, but I just wanted to say it because it's an unbelievable thing. Yeah. And so I hurried off to a 4:10 flight on Friday to get back because me and you had a date to go to the commissioner's party and Melissa as well. But, me and you got the better prom photo than you and Melissa.
Yeah, you kicked her out of the photo.
But so Grace Cathedral was a beautiful setting. The commissioner's party is interesting because you walk around, a lot of the owners are there. We ran into your boy Ryan Clark right away. You just never know who you're going to run into in there. Who was your favorite?
Him and Sherm had to get their debates in.
Once they started talking Hall of Fame.
I didn't know if we were going to get out of the front of the building.
Every time Sherm starts talking, debating who should be in the Hall of Fame, I kind of just start shuffling away because it gets intense. But did you have a favorite run-in of somebody you talked to while you were there?
You know what? I had some great ones. Anytime you run into any of the NFL crew, it's fun. I mean, obviously our guy Jeff Miller, who every year Miller. he comes, and him and Sherm have to get into the debates over rules that are going in or out or whatever. It's always great. He loves us, I think. Well, maybe at least he tells us he loves us. We think he loves us. Jeff, you love us, right?
Yeah, he loves us. He loves us.
And, he's always the best. But, obviously, spending a little time with the committee and Roger, walking around, talking to people. It's very interesting. But, I had some good conversations. I saw Carla Ursay. We had a great good conversation just kind of about the year. And we're going to have to get her on the pod, man. She's she loves talking
That'd
ball.
Awesome.
And we had a good talk. Me and her sat there for a while.
Ball and the semi turned pretty. We got lots of stuff to talk about. She does.
Big fan. Yeah. She was a big fan of the show. Yeah, she had a lot to talk about there. And then, just the usual, hanging out with the Rams folks. And, Kevin and Tony are always good. They're always good people to hang with.
Shout out Tony Pastore. That a baby. Go Dartmouth. Go Big Green.
TP, baby.
Well, I know you've heard this story, but for everybody else, I ran into Bill O'Reilly. And, growing up, that was who was always on the TV. So I'm excited to go over and say hi to Bill. And so I go over and I'm about to introduce myself and I shake his hand. I say, hey, Mr. O'Reilly, how you doing, sir? He said, oh, my God. Before I could say anything, I love you on TV.
That's
you have
awesome.
the it factor. And I'm just like, oh, this is great. Like, this is crazy. I can't wait to tell my dad about this.
What a cool moment.
He's going on. And
that's awesome.
And I'm like, oh, baby. Like, you know what? I do a good job on TV. Yeah, you know what? I think I do have the it factor. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking all this in my head. And then he goes, and I think your brother's going to have it too.
Oh, my gosh.
My brother. Oh, no. He thinks
How's he know Sean?
He thinks I'm, yeah, sure. He thinks I'm Jason Kelce. So at this point in the conversation, what do you do? Like, he started asking me, where are you living now? Knowing that he thought I was Jason Kelce, I was thinking about saying, well, I live in Philadelphia. But I just talked as if it was me. And I live in Phoenix. So he probably thinks Jason Kelce lives in Phoenix now, which is weird. And then at the very end, just saying bye, great to talk to you. He said, nice to talk to you too, Jason, and went away. So that was the final dagger. That just, it hurts. It started out so well.
Your guy, Bill.
You're
such a fan.
It started out so well, and then unfortunately it slowly faded away.
I think you do a great job on TV. If this makes you feel better, at the game, when I was headed up to the suite, I was riding in the elevator with Chris Berman, the man, the GOAT.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
And he said, hey, I want to tell you something real quick before you get off. He stopped me as I was walking up the elevator because he was going up another floor. He goes, your show? I love your show. You guys are awesome. And I was like, the man, the GOAT just said that.
Yeah.
Let's go. I was fired up.
He went to Brown. He's a fellow Ivy Leaguer. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. One of my favorite photos ever, though. We went to a black tie event together. I'll try to throw it up on the pod here, but it's a black and white photo of me and him sitting next to each other. And it's one of my favorite photos ever.
That's awesome.
He's always been super, super cool and nice to me. But the other part about the Super Bowl that's hilarious is I try to do my best, by the way. I wasn't trying to be out late. There was one night where I was out past like 10:30. And I know that I was lame this Super Bowl, but my biggest issue is I have to call the game for Sky Sports. Last year, when I called the game for Sky Sports, my voice was gone. It was done. And whether it's, being out late and drinking or doing whatever, not getting much sleep, like it's also everywhere we go past 8 p.m., everything is elevated. There's music. You're talking louder.
It never stops.
It never stops. And so I felt like I had to get ahead of it. And so when I was at the Waste Management, our friend, Mary Kate Morrissey, Elphaba from Wicked, she was there. And I said, MK, how? If I start feeling like my voice is getting hoarse and going, how do I make sure that I don't lose my voice? And this is what she told me. She said, every morning now, what I want you to do, I want you to get an Owala water bottle, fill it halfway, and I want you to blow bubbles in the Owala. And I said, well, I don't have an Owala. She said, just get a straw and put it in a bottle of water filled halfway and blow bubbles. And so every morning I would wake up, every morning, Saturday and Sunday, and blow bubbles into a water bottle through a straw. And maybe it helped. I couldn't tell if she was messing with me or if it actually was something I should have been doing. But I'm sitting down, at 7 a.m. in the lobby of the St. Regis, or in the restaurant of the St. Regis, blowing bubbles into a water bottle with people just staring at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? But I think it worked, Whit. I think it worked.
Your voice sounds good. No,
Thank you.
We were teetering on Saturday. I was worried about your voice on Saturday.
Teetering. It's just so hard. There's only, lemon and honey and hot water. I mean, I don't know. I have a chronic condition, I think. Just much like Tony Gonzalez's fingers when it gets cold, I think I have a chronic condition. And if I talk for more than 2 days, my voice goes out. Or do a cadence. We've learned that too.
I was about to say, or a cadence. If you do a cadence, it's over.
So I'm curious.
I like that advice.
Did you have any random? I'm saying this because I had a fun random run-in after 11 p.m. And they always happen at the Super Bowl. I'll tell you mine first, so you can think about it if you had one. But the one thing I did when I stayed up is I went to the Green Day concert. Now, Counting Crows was playing beforehand. I love Counting Crows. We went. Me and some other Amazon folks, and Counting Crows was already off the stage. So I was kind of bummed about that. Green Day put on a very good performance, but Michael Irvin shows up. Irv's got a lot of energy. And Spoon and Muir, who I was with, had worked with him back in the day, and he was so excited to see everybody. And, we some bro hugs, and well, he said, "Oh, let's do a shot." Whit, let's do a shot. Like, I'm over it. But it's Michael Irvin. All right, Michael, let's do a shot.
You got to do it.
So there's 5 of us in a circle, and he gets them to pour some tequila. When I tell you, this wasn't even a double shot. This was a triple shot of tequila.
It was just a little mini glass of hot tequila. That's all it was.
Oh, my God. It burns. I think it still burns. But it was like, all right, I'm done. After I had to take the triple shot of tequila, I wasn't going to have any more that night because I needed my rest. I needed to blow bubbles into my water bottle, and I needed to perform on Sunday. Did you have any of those crazy, last year we had Kevin Costner a couple times, but any like random weird ones?
No, nothing too random and weird. I did have a good little adventure on Saturday. I went to Deli Board, awesome sandwich shop in San Fran. Went in. I was on my way there, though, and you're in the middle of, I don't know where I was, but walking down these streets, there's nobody down there. And all of a sudden, crossing the crosswalk on the other side of the street is Andrew Luck in a suit and tie. Looked like he was passing out Bibles to neighborhoods. I mean, I was literally like, dude, what are you doing out here? And why are you dressed in a suit and tie in the middle of nowhere? So just down a random street, just walking by himself. And it was great. And then I think the last time I saw him, he was in the soldier outfit on our show. I think it's the last time I saw Andrew Luck. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think that was
true.
Yeah.
Oh man, he is.
That was great. That was the last time I saw him. Then I saw Mike Chandler, the UFC fighter. I saw him out at one of the dinners I was at. Got a chance to catch up with him a little bit. He was awesome. He's a ton of energy and fun. Nothing too crazy.
Teddy Swims. We got to catch up with Teddy Swims.
Oh, I did see Teddy. Yeah,
Teddy
was cool. Yeah,
that was cool. The best one I had, I was walking, and there's a crowd of people, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And it was Joe Theismann saying hello to Dave Chappelle in the middle of the street. It was just.
I saw that photo. That is sick. That is so cool.
I took a photo of that one, loving it. It was pretty funny. But Dave Chappelle was just out and about, walking around before he put on he did a show one of the nights. But that is Super Bowl week for you. Just such a random collection of people, but so much fun. Try to avoid the late nights, so we're getting too old, Whit, Too old, little responsibility into our lives.
I get it.
Yeah.
Here, I get it. I do.
Now, I do want to reintroduce, because we haven't had one for a little while, I don't think, or at least we haven't been very consistent on it, the beard of the week, because between the Super Bowl, I've got some good ones from the Super Bowl, but I'm going to go with the guy that I saw at the Waste Management golf tournament. What a beautiful beard. That, to me, that's what I want to get to. I've never had my beard that long. That's got to be a couple years worth of growth, but he obviously maintains it. He trims up the edges a little bit. I'd like this is kind of like your mustache a little bit. Like it's not over powerful, right?
Yeah.
We're really taking care of it.
A little bit. Yeah.
Now, you could tell he's married, A, because of the tattoo where his wedding ring should be, and 2, because she's probably been telling him to cut that mustache for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely cutting it.
It's a long, beautiful beard, but he also has the ability to eat a cheeseburger, which I can appreciate. That. So,
well, here's the thing. I mean, you forgot. We also did a beard competition at the Talk Wednesday night.
Oh,
Fitz and Whit. We had some good ones. We had some quality beards.
Wasn't
in
it?
One.
So we ended up just bringing 6 guys up, and we started eliminating them. But wasn't it interesting? Yeah. The guy with the longest beard, he didn't get much of a reaction from the crowd.
No, the fans didn't love it. They liked the groom guy better. Which
that guy, if you had hair on the top of your head, what are you trying to say? If you had hair on the top of your head, though, the guy that won the competition, he had a little bit of wit to him. It's just that he had like the salt and pepper on top to match the shape of the beard on the bottom.
A little shape.
That guy was a beautiful man.
He was beautiful. Fans loved him. Man. He was a fan favorite for sure. That's for sure.
He was. Well, most of these Beard of the Weeks are coming to us in person. I'll get some of people sending them to us. But if you want to nominate your friend or somebody else or even you for our next Beard of the Week, then send it to us. We would love to see it. But I'm just telling you right now, there's some guys that didn't win it at the Super Bowl that I got pictures with that are going to be very, very difficult to beat.
Fitz, do you see my hat by chance?
American Century Investment. That's that golf tournament in July, is it not?
It is, yeah.
Where does it take place?
It takes place in a place, South Lake Tahoe. But it is the American Century Investments golf tournament. Okay.
Oh, the American Century Championship.
It's off-season time, Fitz. So there's only one goal, one focus right now. It's getting ready.
Okay, but you got to be careful. You can't overdo it. Like, I feel like in years past, you've been overdoing it.
That's leading up to the tournament. So. Right now, until then, it's time to get ready. So it's time to dial in the game, get it ready to go. I saw John Miller this week. Okay. He got me fired up. So
what are the chances?
I'm ready to go.
What are the chances that you either have brand new clubs by the time we play in that tournament in July, or you have new grips or a new putter, a lab putter by the time we play in July from what's in your bag right now?
I guarantee you I will go through 4 sets of clubs before that tournament gets here. And at least seven regrips. At least 7.
I just wanted to make sure everybody knows.
We'll go from standard back to mid-size to jumbo, a couple wraps in a jumbo. We'll go back down to mid-size with a wrap. Then we'll come back up to jumbo, probably without any wraps. It'd be some version of that. It's always the club's fault, Fitz.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling. I'm glad you're being honest with everybody right now. All right, that's it for us. What a great week we had, but we will be back later this week with a very special guest. Finally, Whit, you're bringing somebody to the equation. I mean, I feel like you've been carrying the load lately here. Fitz and Whit is a Wave original. Thanks to our production crew, and thanks again to all you beardos for tuning in. We will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.